Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WP Watercooler episode number 330. Today, we're going to be talking about the ups and downs of WordPress meetups. This particular episode of WP Watercooler is brought to you by ServerPress, makers of desktop server. Make sure you go over to their website over at serverpress.com. You can learn about all the cool stuff that they have going on over there with their products. They got some really neat things. And if you're wanting to just do local website development, you just install that on your computer, do your local WordPress development, and then push it out, and you're done. It's awesome. So feel free to go take a look at their stuff over at desktopserver.com. So let's talk a little bit about meetups. Let's go around the room real quick, get everyone introduced. Say Reed, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
Hello, my name is Say. I make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things. And I'm not going to forget today, I am one of the co-organizers for WordCamp Long Beach. What? And in a little bit, I'll out myself as with my meetup status.
Awesome.
I won't do that yet.
Cool.
Manny, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I am a web developer based in Las Vegas. I am one of the co-organizers for WordCamp Las Vegas 2019, September 6 and 7. And it's our 10th anniversary, so it's going to be a historic one.
10?
Wow.
I've been on meetup.com since 10 years.
10 years of the WordPress Las Vegas WordCamp?
Yep.
Damn!
It's all John Hawkins' fault.
That's old.
Yep. So I started on meetup.com in 2005, long time ago. I actually started a WordPress meetup in Brazil, in the town that I grew up, even though I didn't live there. So it's a funny story. Awesome. I hope I can tell a little bit later on. And I hear in Vegas, I co-organized the Las Vegas meetup, WooCommerce Las Vegas meetup, and the digital marketing meetup. And I just help once in a while with the WordPress meetup, which is led by John Hawkins.
Awesome. Well, good to have you on. Good to have you on. How about you, Ross? Tell us about yourself.
My name is Ross Guile. Thank you for having me on. Ross Guile from DigiCal, and I design WordPress. I do what Say Reed does, all the things and all the WordPress stuff. And one of these days I'll be a meetup WordPress organizer, but I got to follow WordCamp, and I got to follow Say Reed and get all her points across there. But she's the expert. She's the expert, not me. So that's where. And so I'm glad to talk about meetups today, and it's going to be a lot of fun to give us our opinions of how cool meetups are. So.
Awesome.
So you guys.
Hey, wait, 1 second.
Wait, Jason, who are you? Jason, who are you?
I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog. I do this show as well as another show called WP Blab. Feel free to go take a look at that. WP Blab was fun last night. We, I'm trying to remember the exact title just so you guys can look it up. But we talked about influencer marketing. Oh yeah. Kind of the good, the bad, the ugly of it, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. So make sure you go over to our website at wpwatercooler.com/WP Blab, and that's where you can find that show.
So I have a convention. So I didn't watch WP Blab. I have a hard time with long shows. That's why this show is perfect for me. I have like about a half an hour attention span, but I did see the video and I was noticing that the sun was the way that it was behind Widget. And I did this thing where I like just fast forwarded the video and you could actually see it go dark. Like, dark. And I did that like 3 times. I'm a dork. So you could go watch the sunset behind Widget. On the WP Blab episode.
She lives right next to the beach too, so it's like it's that perfect. Yeah.
Nice. I was dying laughing. I was like, nighttime.
So let's start off real quick. You guys all mentioned this except for Say. So Say, I'll give you a minute to go load it up. But if you go up on meetup.com and click on your face in the upper right hand corner, it'll tell you your meetup member since date. Yep. Which is an interesting kind of, how long you've been using Meetup sort of thing. And we can kind of dive a little bit into.
I would like to point out that how long I've been on Meetup and how long I've been using Meetup are not necessarily the same number.
What? You were showing up to Meetups without being on a Meetup?
No, I just don't go.
You just had a Meetup profile probably.
I'm past that. I joined, according to my profile, February 27th, 2012.
Ooh, okay. What about you guys? What else? What do you have, Manny?
I have April 1st, and it's not Fool's Day.
Wait, what year though?
2005.
Oh shit!
Wow, 2005. I'm
Yeah,
2006, May 31st, 2006.
You guys really are holding down the geekdom land.
So I'm a latecomer, 2011.
Yeah.
All right.
I found it like it was super cool to meet new people, on Meetup. Not only tech meetups, but meetups of all kinds. Bike, so if you want to go bike with people, hike with people.
Oh yeah.
In Vegas, there is a bunch of hikers meetups. It's super cool.
This makes a lot of sense for me because I'm kind of antisocial. I know you wouldn't guess that, but it's true. So I'm like, meetup. I don't need to meet up. Also, during all of that time, that's when I had my bookstore, and I was in the meetup place. So I didn't need anybody until 2012. Actually, I didn't need to go out to find anybody. Everyone just came to me. So I didn't need to schedule any extracurricular activities.
So Jason, you and Ross, you guys run a meetup there?
Yeah. We both live in the same town and operate out of the same town. And he has
what?
He has an office over in Whittier, and so we meet up actually right behind where he's standing right there, where all the green screen and all that fun stuff is.
So you guys planning on having a WordCamp there someday?
Nope. I will. Nope.
My office is not that big.
I mean, in your town.
There's only one bathroom, dude. It's unisex, and it'd be really difficult.
Whittier is part of what is construed within Southern California as Greater Long Beach, because even though it's technically in LA.
Greater Long Beach.
Oh my gosh.
That's a real thing. That's
Jason,
a real term.
Greater Long Beach.
I didn't make that up. No, it's because so Whittier is technically part of LA. But LA doesn't really pay attention to anything that's on that side. It kind of disowns Downey and Whittier and Pico. It's we don't know you.
Right.
So Long Beach claims all of that, Norwalk, Downey, Whittier for ourselves. So I would consider WordCamp Long Beach to be the
absolutely
home for WordCamp Whittier. So
we have a home WordCamp now.
Yeah,
I had that problem with WordCamp LA, where I go to Orange County stuff. So I'm like, why am I going to LA? So yeah.
That's the thing about Long Beach and the greater Long Beach area is kind of this dual identity. And either way, you really have to drive really far. If you're going to Orange County, you gotta go. If you're going to LA, you gotta go. And so we're kind of in but not of both of those communities. And I think that's actually contributes to the cohesiveness actually of the blend of the WordPress community in SoCal, because the communities are kind of you can be in Orange County and you can be so close to San Diego and so far away from LA County that your San Diego meetup would be closer than the one in Huntington.
Right. Sure.
Orange County.
So.
And
we're pretty blessed in Southern California to have so many meetups all over the place. There's a meetup, pick a day of the week, and there's something that's going on meetup wise.
Yeah.
But if you're in a place that you don't have meetups around you, you can start your own meetup. And make.wordpress.org actually has.
Or even if you are.
Yeah, they actually have a site that tells you here's how to make a meetup and here's how to set it all up, and you don't have to pay for it. So they'll pay for the meetup fees, they'll do all that stuff, and you just kind of get all that kind of set up, and it works nice.
There are almost 1,600 WordPress meetup groups in the world. That's a lot.
That's the official meetup groups too, right? Yeah. Because there's lots of WordPress meetup groups that aren't under the Make WordPress. There was I don't know, that was 5 years ago or something, where they did the transition where they're you can come into the fold of the official WordPress meetup land. And not all, what?
There's benefits to that too. So back in WordPress, back in WordPress 4.8, they actually came out with a widget that shows up on the dashboard of WordPress when you log into your WordPress.
Yeah, we got a lot of newcomers because of that.
I mean, it literally shows it right there. It's here, there's a WordCamp meetup right here in your town.
Yeah, it geolocates where you're at, and it says, hey, so there's a meetup around you, show up to it. And we've had people they log into their website for maybe the first time in a couple months or whatever, and they'll look and see that a meetup is happening tonight, and they go oh, we should go to the meetup. And then they show up to our meetup and they start talking about, oh yeah, we found you on my website. And I'm like, where on your website?
How did you find us on your website?
And that was because they just launched that, and we're like, what the heck is going on? And then sure enough, that people are showing up because of meetup putting that in there. But that's only if your meetup is associated with like the actual, meetup structure that's being paid for by
WordPress.
Which means you have to follow the specific guidelines that are set up by the community, the codes of conduct, the promotion rules, all of which I think are great. Because,
and you can't charge for it and that kind of thing. You can't.
Yeah.
There's no fees.
Which is, I think, is great. I think there's a lot of folks on Meetup that use it as not necessarily in the WordPress world, but on Meetup in general, that use it as like their own marketing tool. And it's not really for the community. It's like for them to promote themselves or for them to make money. Mm-hmm. And the Make WordPress umbrella really prevents all of that from happening. So it provides this real nice structure. Plus, being listed in the dashboard, which is.
Yeah.
So can I give you a story how we started our Meetup?
Yeah.
Go for it, Ross.
So, I was going down to Steve's place, and too bad Steve's not here. Steve Zangit. And from Interactive. Huntington Beach, that's right. We had a cross. Jason and I both had to cross the Orange County line from LA County to Orange County, what Jason was talking about earlier.
The orange curtain.
That's orange. That's funny, yeah. And so we were sitting there, and we introduced ourselves, and then I think Jason introduced himself, and he goes, "My name is Jason Tucker, and I'm from Whittier, California." I'm like, "Whittier, California? That's where I'm from." And so I scoped him out, and after the meetup, I go, I got to meet that guy. So, hey, Jason, my name's Ross. We introduced ourselves, and then I met him 2 or 3 other times, and then eventually I said, I go, Jason, why don't we start a meetup in Whittier?
Why are we driving?
I know, right? So there's a meetup down in Huntington Beach, way down there, which is it's a nice drive. I know about another meetup in Pasadena. What's the guy's name? In Pasadena, it's a big guy, Alex. Is that his name?
Alex Vasquez.
Yeah, Alex Vasquez. I went to both of those, and those are cool meetups. I'm thinking, why don't we have a meetup here local? There might be a few others. So let's do one in Whittier, kind of in between. And so Jason goes, let's do it. So I said, I met. We
That's
met.
What Jason says to like all ideas. By the way, it's really.
Let's do it.
He's like, okay, let's do it.
You hear it? Let's do it. So Jason, let's do it. No, it was no hesitation. And then so we met at a place where local here, a friend of mine, and there were some technology issues. I said, okay, why don't we just do it in my office? I got everything here. Got the great air conditioner, and that's right. And so we met here, and we've been here ever since. How many years, Jason? We've been doing this.
Is it
10,000? No, wait,
10,000.
So maybe 2 or 3 years, somewhere in there. Yeah.
So we're doing it. I decided my business will pay for the meetup thing and all that. And Jason eventually pops out the statement. Well, WordPress will pay for that. I'm going, no. He said, yeah, here's a link. Call them up, and then they're going to pay for it. So what they did is they took our meetup account, and we actually gave them administrative access to it. So we're both WordPress and us. We're both admins. They're the paying admin. There's another, where they actually pay for it. So it's really cool. So there's no cost. And what they did is, and I got this here, I got a swag, WordPress swag.
The stickers.
And they sent me a big box of these so we can give them out to all the meetups. This is what I have left. I had a big box of these, and this is what I have left. I throw them all over the tables, and and so it's been so much fun ever since. And so the way we do our meetup is that, it's kind of like it just happened this way. We never really asked each other, like Jason or myself, how this plan worked. But what I do is
planning is for chumps.
Exactly. We just do it. So I supply the venue and all the everything in here. And then what Jason does, and he does this on his own. He brings the pizza every month. He goes to your, what's it, Papa John's.
That's an important role.
There's Papa John's. These nice big pizzas, 2 or 3 pizzas, some wings, some.
You might want to think about
sticks. He brings that, which is really cool. Thank you, Jason. I thank him every month, and people love it. And then sometimes we'll give out prizes just for coming and all that kind of stuff. And so it's really been cool like that. So
yeah, is it possible for WordPress meetups to get sponsors? Because I have another meetup that I do have a sponsor, and I know it's possible, but I'm not sure.
Good. Sponsor's not a conflict, is it?
I don't know, but you could also in-kind sponsorship.
Yeah.
So there's that.
You don't want to get sponsorships and put money in your pocket for the. You want to do.
There's web hosts.
The pizza for this kind of stuff.
There's web hosts that send like boxes of beer to to the meetup spots. There's people that will pay for the pizza. They'll pay for all of those sorts of things. I just put it out there and just kind of have it And I don't use Papa John's, by the way. I use some.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, sorry.
It's called Papa Piazza or something like that.
I knew there was a Papa in there.
I'm pasting all these articles in the chat notes. I'm like,
No,
it's Papa John's.
Piazza is what it's called. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Liquid Web pays for our pizza for the WooCommerce meetup.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's good. I think that's a good way. I mean, especially with WooCommerce, if that's their jam, then they should definitely be throwing some money their way to make sure that you guys are, talking about WooCommerce, and hopefully they'll maybe go and host with them or something like that. But you have no obligation to go and host with that company just because. And
I think that's an important thing, and that's actually true with WordCamps also. Like, even though these folks are sponsors or supporters, like there's really, and this is from the WordPress guidelines, is that there's really not supposed to be any favoritism of those things. So it's not like, oh, we're going to talk specifically about this product and this product is the best product. And I think that's really great because, there's a lot of money out there in these agencies and they could just basically buy placement. And
take over everything,
and which is that really, so I really appreciate those community guidelines because they really preserve the community, right? Like they preserve it from being like corporate takeover.
Yeah,
by the rules, like it's regulated. You cannot corporate take over this, and you can see how easily that could happen if those rules weren't there. Like
a bunch of meetups that I've been before, you feel like you are like in a sales funnel, which is
that's not good.
Right?
That's not good at all.
So yeah, but
one of the things is if you want to start a meetup, go to another meetup and see how they do it, and there might be some people going to that meetup that are in your locale, like Jason and I.
Yeah.
So you poach a meetup to go to a meetup? No, that's
no. But please go to a meetup before you
go to a meetup.
One, because there's people that know how meetups work. Like they're those people that go to 10 meetups. I mean, listen to Manny talk about the meetups that he went to. He's gone to a bunch of meetups. I only go to WordPress meetups. For a little while, I went to a meetup. My first meetup I ever went to before a WordPress one was for Adobe products. Mm-hmm. And I walked in and I was like, I'll present. And they were like, oh, we don't have a presenter tonight. Please present. And so I presented, and then they were like, hey, do you want to do another presentation next week? And I was like, sure. And I was doing some crazy presentations. We did a presentation.
It's so great.
We did a presentation where we live streamed video off of a helicopter.
What?
Yeah, we had a remote control helicopters before like drones and all that stuff were a thing. And we put a camera on it and we flew the camera up in the air and we live streamed off that camera. And all the people at the meetup got to watch the helicopter flying around. And I was presenting the fact that you could do live streaming using Adobe streaming software. And these people were just like mind blown. They're like, I don't understand what are all the things that are happening here? And I had to like go through all of it. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What year was that?
Yeah, that's the good thing about the meetups is like it opens your mind to how people do stuff there sometimes with the same tools. Sometimes the way that I use WordPress is different than the way that you use Jason and Say and Ross.
Oh, it's definitely different. No.
So yeah, so it's good, to learn new things from there. And the downside of this is it's too short for them to learn in couple hours, right? We are only just showing the way that you have to do it, but we can't actually. Sometimes I feel like people want to learn more.
Well, it's not training.
It's not training. That's
it's information. It's like introductory information. Like, hey, we'll introduce you to this concept, and then people are free. People could also hit up. For example, they could have hit up Jason and been like, Jason, can I pay you to tutor me on this streaming software? And he would have been like, yeah, because he says yes to everything. But like,
let's do it.
Same thing with Manny. Like if you were presenting something and then someone came up to you afterwards and was like, hey, I need to learn how to do this. Can I pay you to teach me how to do this? You'd be like, sure. So I really feel like it introduces people within the community to each other for sure, but also just introducing these concepts that you don't necessarily know exist yet. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I could do that. And then, if you need extra training, you can go and get it from those people or get resources. But you could also just, a lot of us in the tech world are very DIY,
Oh, yeah.
Just go do that Google thing.
Yeah.
Well, every meetup every meetup that I've been to, I always get one little, I call it a golden nugget. I'm like, there's the golden nugget. I've never been to a meetup where I go, this is a waste of time. So if it's one thing that I can use in my business, even for my customers, I'm like, oh, really? You do that way? Okay, that's great. And so, I'm trained every time I show up, and whether it's, meeting new people, like I met Jason at that one meetup. And so, and I met you guys here, everything you do, whether it's this video streaming or anything, you're part of the community, as Say says, you're part of the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's impossible to know everything, right? So
what?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Unless you're like Chris Lamb or something like that.
That's not true.
But he actually says that something that I think is very interesting is everybody's like 5 minutes ahead or 5 minutes behind you, right? Something. So you're always learning from other people.
I like that.
And when I do a presentation, I always learn something new, right? You always learn something new. When I'm going to present about Gutenberg or something.
Right.
Gutenberg. I'm going to start saying it like that from now on.
So
that was great.
I've had people even at our meetups ask us like, could you share the show notes to your talk? And I'm like, it literally came out of my head. Like there was no notes. There was no like,
had your opportunity.
There was no
notes. That's it.
Winging it.
But so the reason why I tell them we don't have any notes is we also record the thing live. So we stream it live, record it, and we make it available on Facebook. We make it available on YouTube or wherever else we want to stream it to.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings
watch that stuff,
Jason. Because what I feel is when we actually tell people that we're gonna record it and make it them,
and they don't show up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't tell them until they're already there.
So
we don't make an announcement saying, hey, we're streaming this live or anything like that. At the end of it, we say, hey, just let you know, we recorded this live. Feel free to go take a look at it. And here's the
secret link.
Yeah, here's the link that's on Facebook.
We had one guy come to our meetup. His name is Joshua. He goes, he didn't want to come this one time. He goes, he's like texting us during the meetup. He goes, I thought you guys were going to do it live. So he actually expected us going live that one time. I think we had some technical difficulties that one day. But,
that never happens. I don't know what
never. But there's some people, like when you start doing live, you do get some people that are expecting it. Oh, I'll just stay home, whatever. But you know what the thing is? Meetups are meetups. You meet up with, you actually get in your car and you drive somewhere and you go meet. That's what a meetup is. Otherwise,
if you're in SoCal anyway, you get your
people, I mean,
how do you guys handle people that I like monitor? They want to like ask like
20 questions.
20 questions.
We're pretty good about that.
Yeah.
About that.
I tell you how they do it. Jason just freaking answers the questions. That's how they have to answer.
Sometimes we'll say there might be some questions. We'll say that it's beyond the scope of this. We'll meet with you afterwards. And really, we after we go from 7 to 9. We actually stay here till 10 because of people outside. They'll go to some table and they'll start talking about it. And somebody will bring a laptop, and say, "Hey, my laptop's messed up." And Jason, I'll see Jason over there. Fixing it, whatever. So it's we have like an hour that we do talk about some things that are maybe a longer answer.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
My question about this is something that I actually find you were saying, Ross, that like you never go to a meetup where you don't like find some great golden nugget of information. I think that's the case for me when people are doing presentations, because you can watch a presentation and be like, oh, I know all this stuff, but they say, an interesting workflow, or they mention a tool that you don't know or haven't heard about. And so like, that's always useful. But what I'm actually not a big fan of, I can't say whatever, but I think something I'm not a fan of is site reviews, where people are like, review my site. Do you guys do those at your meetup?
Sure.
I never did that.
Like instead of a presentation, you're like,
see my site. Can you look at my site? Sometimes we do it during the meetup or after the meetup.
Well, I mean, as the meetup content itself, looking at people's stuff afterwards, where you're like, here's some thoughts or whatever. That's different. But like I'm not calling out my crew or anything, but like the WordCamp Long Beach, sometimes, if they don't have a presentation, they're like, we're just doing site reviews. And I know people ask that for that a lot of the time, they say, because they want it. They want these professional people to give them essentially free advice on their site and, reviews. And I just find those to be really non-informative for me. Or I'm just like, okay, like, this is literally like what I do. I can do this for a living. Like I can review this person's site, and like, I'm not taking anything away from that. So
we're doing more like a happiness bar type of situation where the person says like, this one thing on my website's broken and it's this one thing over here. And so we're like, yeah, let's look at your website. And we load it up and we look at it and we're like, it took a really long time for this thing to load. And we're having some issues with this thing. And let's load up the console real quick. Whoa, JavaScript errors. What the heck's going on here? Right. And then we're like, hey, log in and check out your plugins. Make sure they're up to date. Okay, let's refresh the site again. Hey, it's a little bit better. What's going on with this? So we do that sort of thing.
More like live troubleshooting, I think. I think that is actually.
We do that. And we always do that the last half hour. So we'll have a topic most of the time. Sometimes we'll go, okay, we're just going to talk about anything. But like sometimes we do on the show. But we'll do like from 7 to 8:30. We'll do like a topic, and then 8:30 we'll cut it off. We'll give away some prizes, and we'll say, okay, what do you guys want to? You guys have any questions about your website? And someone will go, yeah, my website does this, and it's JavaScript, whatever. So usually it's like the last half hour is that happy bar thing.
Well, it's not really so much a happiness bar; it's like a live happiness.
That's right.
Well, what's good is we're also Googling our butts off while we're trying to figure out what's up with this, and we're doing it on the screen. So Ross actually has a TV that we drag out, and
that's right there.
What we're doing up on the screen and stuff. And so those people are able to Google. Like, look, I'm going to show you how to find this stuff. Like, I'm essentially teaching you how to fish.
It's literally live troubleshooting.
Google this for you.
Yeah. And that's good because that means people has that feeling that they can do this themselves.
Do you always start at the "Let me Google this for you" website? Like,
yeah,
you like only use that one at the thing, and you're just like it's like a subtle little thing. You're just like, I'm gonna not call it Google. I'm gonna call it "Let me Google this for you."
Exactly.
And maybe it's an underutilized tool, but the WordPress forums are pretty good, for asking questions.
And we can show those at the meetups too, those forums, those tools.
Oh, yeah.
As you're saying, man.
People always ask, like, what's the best web host? And I'm like, oh, what's the best web host? Yeah, let's go.
That's a whole nother topic. But.
Or somebody's like, I use this host, or I use that host.
It's a philosophical question.
Oh.
That's not really like something you can answer. That's like, so one day there was a forest, and
so we have a couple more minutes, but I'd like to ask you guys a question. So you guys, run a meetup, whatever. How do you guys keep the meetup going so that it doesn't die off? Let's explain that to us.
This is a good time for me to out myself that I have been, and I just got invoiced for this again, which is why I'm thinking about it, because I have this like completely passive thing that I'm an organizer for that I have literally not touched since, I don't know, the last 5 years. It's WordPress for small business owners. And I pay for it and I do literally nothing with it. And there's 325 people in it. And I haven't had a meetup. One of the last things on there was like WordCamp LA, from like two or 3 years ago. And then like, it was the 10th anniversary of WordPress when we had that party at WordPress.
6 years ago.
So whatever year that was. So, anyway, that's what I do with, I just need to like get rid of it. I just need to be like, turn it free to the masses.
Ross and I have been trying to do things where we're sending out little messages to folks through Meetup saying, hey, we got this next, event that's coming up. We're going to be talking about whatever. And it's hard because just like with this show as well, trying to get people to show up, but so many months, like so many weeks ahead, a whole month ahead, is really difficult. And which is why, like, when I invite people to come to this thing, I'm inviting them the day before because I know that they're busy and that they got to figure this stuff out. So you gotta play with it a little bit. And it really depends on if you have older folks that are like writing it down in their calendar, or if it's like younger folks that are just waiting for the tweet to go out. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to kind of figure out how your audience works and how you're going to be able to remind them.
Two things that I do on my meetups. First, for every new member that sign up, I ask the 3 questions, like what they want to know from our meetup, where they come from, and what are their goals. And by reading that, I actually get ideas for new meetup topics. And the other thing that we do here too, we never had like just one organizer. We have like 3, 4, 5, because sometimes life happens. And
a lot of work to have one person do it.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
So usually that's what we do.
I don't have time to get the
meetup chunky, so I'm always in
Jason do it for me.
You don't have time to pick up pizza.
I don't have time to pick up pizza.
But you can turn on the air conditioning.
Oh, no way. No way, Jose.
Wait, turn it off.
The icicles. Didn't see the icicles dropping from my ceiling.
I love it.
Ross.
I would never suggest you turn off your air conditioning.
And it's 11:30. Thank you very much for the three of you for coming out and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. We had people in the chat room talking. No joke. We had people on what was it? They were on one of these services. We had a couple different folks that were hopping on here and wanting to talk about various things with meetups and stuff.
Someday we'll look at the chat.
Yeah, well, I keep forgetting to take you guys, here's a chat button. Look at it.
Someday we'll remember there's a chat.
And I want to say thank you very much for our sponsors for helping us out. We really appreciate it. Go over to desktopserver.com. You can find out all the cool stuff that's happening there. Talk to y'all later. You have a good one. Bye-bye.